Hey Eli, how are you? Thank you so much for being here right now. Really, really
Of
appreciate you
course.
taking the
Thank you for
time
having me.
to. Yeah, thanks for being on. First and foremost, just want to say what an emotional few days it's been, and it's been incredible to see your content over the last year or so since you've been serving in Gaza. And I know your unit was one of the first people to actually be the first faces the Israeli hostages could see coming out of Gaza this week. So first and foremost, wanted to ask you, like, what did that feel like? Can you describe that moment?
Best moment, the best feeling in the entire world. I mean, it was such a full circle closure moment to a degree where, when October 7th hit, we all jumped right away. I hopped on a flight, the next day from LA to Israel, um, fought in the war, came back, was doing advocacy in Asbara, and then jumped again for the most recent attack in Gaza. And seeing them cross, all of this sacrifice, all the last 2 years has been like for the hostages, for Israel, to defend Israel, to defeat Hamas. But really, like, we wanted our hostages home. It just becomes that simple. We wanted our hostages home. Everyone thought about them all the time. It was at top of mind. And to know that you're physically, directly part of the effort to bring them into Israel was just the best feeling I can possibly imagine. The energy, both from us, our teammates, before we even saw them, was just electric. Everyone was excited. Everyone in the whole world was excited. I'd been at Hostage Square a couple days before that. And as you see the Red Cross trucks coming in, first you have the armored vehicles, then you see the Red Cross trucks coming in, and we're jumping, we're waving, we have our big Israel flags. Usually we do everything in our full tactical everything, so you're more camouflaged. But here we're like, we didn't want them passing and seeing armed soldiers and maybe thinking they're still in Hamas. So we wanted it to be very, very clear to them: you're home, you're here, we're receiving you, like, you can relax. So we had big Israel flags, and they came by. You could see their hands waving. They're jumping around. Everyone's excited. It just, the second they passed us and they moved by and kept moving forward, because we were the ones that physically lifted the gate and greeted them in, I just broke down into tears. It just was like a huge breath out, energetically, mentally, everything that you could just release and know that like a big step was done. It's the best moment of my life.
I can only imagine how you guys felt that day, and just seeing the rest of the Jewish world come together, and even us Jews in the States, everyone getting together and just being glued to the news, glued to our phones, but you having been there on the ground is an incredible feeling. And I'm sure you
Yeah,
felt
I
even
mean,
more validated knowing that you left your life in the US to come and serve your duty and do what you needed to do to protect your people. Were there times throughout the last couple of years where you doubted that decision to come back and serve for Israel?
never, not even close. Not even close. It was like on October 7th when it first hit, it wasn't a question of whether I should do it. My parents and family were trying to ask me, am I sure? Why would I do it? Maybe wait a little bit. And it was never a question of whether I should. It was how fast can I get there? Like, how quickly can I get on a flight? How quickly can I get in uniform? How quickly can I be with my team? And ever since then, there was never a moment of, oh shoot, I shouldn't be here. It was always complete and utter pride in what I'm doing and serving my country and serving my people and bringing the hostages back. Every soldier feels the highest sense of fulfillment and the highest sense of purpose while we're out here fighting. I think it's also a problem when you go back to regular citizen life, is that your sense of purpose is a 10 out of 10, not even a 100 out of 10 as a soldier fighting for the Jewish people, and you feel like you're part of history. And you go back to day-to-day life, and it's an exciting day is an 8 or 9 or maybe 10 out of 10. So I never once had an ounce of regret. Even when I was here this time, the second time around, like Gaza 2, call it, still the utmost pride, the utmost satisfaction, the utmost purpose. And I'd be here another month, 2 months, whatever, however long they need, I'm ready to stay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for, again, for serving. And I know the world really appreciates it and has been loving seeing a glimpse of what it's like to be an IDF soldier today, like through your lens on social media. I genuinely
It's
don't know
funny because
how.
I never posted that much Hasbara content until like a month and a half ago. It was other content. And then I was like, well, I'm a soldier. I post content anyways. I have a unique perspective of the war right now that, I speak about Hasbara all the time at like different advocacy events and stuff like that, but I was never posting it. And I was like, well, I have a really unique lens. Let me just start posting, and probably people may be interested in it. And it just took off. And I was like, oh, wow. Sounds like
Yeah.
it's good.
It's definitely taken off. I remember, I think I started following you when you were like below 10,000 followers, and then you
Oh, well,
just,
you're
yeah.
one of the OGs. You were before Gaza too.
I'm before Gaza, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
apparently. Yeah, no, that's funny. So, yeah, what has it been like balancing the content, your day to day? Like, it's shocking, I think, from the outside perspective, seeing that you have time to even like speak right now. Like, what time is it in Israel? 5 a.m. Can you like
Five,
walk
yeah,
through a day in the life of Eli right now?
totally. I would say it's tough to know when I'm gonna. So we usually have like 2 guard duty sessions a day, um, anywhere from 1.5 to 3 hours each one, usually in that 2.5 hour range. And the nighttime one's obviously always the worst. So I just did like 2 hours of guard duty from 3 to 5 basically, and then I hopped on this call the second I got off of guard duty, and then I'll have another guard duty sometime during the day today. Um, and then in the in between time, right? So you have about 4 to 5 hours that you're like sitting, making sure that we're guarding the perimeter. We're both guarding the base that we're on. We're also guarding the entire area that we're around. We're using all sorts of different types of night vision, thermal vision, that kind of stuff. Really guarding the perimeter, but not just of the base, of like a whole region of where we are. Um, and then in addition to that, we have all sorts of different missions that we have to do. So every night could be a different type of mission that they have to take a certain amount of us for. Yesterday, last couple of days have been very heavy with taking care of and securing the area for the hostages. So that can take several hours. Let's say for the hostage return, we were there by I think like 7 because Hamas was supposed to have them but to us by 8, so we wanted to get there extra early. So I think we were there at 6, even 6:30. They didn't get there until like 10. So you're just sitting around waiting for 4 hours, and then once they leave, you still have to wait longer, an hour. So like the whole thing takes 5 hours, let's say. You come back, you rest a little bit, you eat lunch, you go on your guard duty session, you rest some more. Then we went for the dead bodies we had to go back for. Got delayed by 3 hours, so then we come back again, wait an hour or two, do Simchat Torah, go back again for like the nighttime. Finally, Hamas is coming. So it's a lot of like this in between. And then in the in between rest times is when, I came back at 11, and then I think I didn't have anything till 3. So just opened up my phone right away, took all the content that I had. We had strict orders on like certain types of filming stuff that we couldn't do, but also we weren't allowed to upload until the IDF uploaded, because out of respect for the families, you don't want, the IDF will upload content when the families are comfortable with it and when everyone knows the hostages are in the hands and all that. So we knew that the hostages were in Israel territory before anyone on TV was able to see it. So they didn't want us posting it early. The moment we had the green light, I was had already things edited, ready to go, and just shut it off. And then it's commenting, it's interacting, it's doing all that. Then I have my whole business. So it's talking to clients about my health and wellness coaching that I do for them. So that's a whole nother thing on the side. And then go up to guard duty, put my phone away, come back from guard duty, work a little bit more. So there's not a lot of sleep. I think I've been sleeping like 3-4 hours a night since I got here.
That was going to be my question. I'm like, as a health and wellness guy, it seems like, what can you do to take care of yourself right now? You're probably barely sleeping.
It's tough to practice what I preach right now, I'll be honest, because like at the very least, like this last week or two has been pretty crazy. I try to get 7 hours of sleep still here in the Army. It's never going to be consistent. It's just never going to be consistent because we have to wake up in the middle of the night for guard duty. It's just, there's no option around it. It's kind of like if I have clients and they have a baby, I'm not going to say like, don't take care of your baby when he cries at 2 a.m. Like wake up, take care of your baby. Same kind of concept where, if we have guard duty for 2 hours in the middle of the night, we have to go do it. Is it interrupting my sleep? For sure. In terms of other health stuff, yeah, I still eat fairly healthy. But especially at the beginning when it was more dangerous. Right now it's a little chiller. My mindset was a little bit like, some unhealthy food isn't going to kill me in Gaza. There's other things that will, so at least enjoy my life and, have the croissant if I'm really tired. And then you get through it with a lot of coffee. I think, there's an expression in the Army. We'll receive orders. It's called Lorid Panika. I mean, it's like, let's bring down the panic. So we'll receive orders for some sort of mission that we have to get ready for. The first thing everyone does before getting our gear ready, before this, that, let's say we have to go in 2 hours, everyone leaves and saying, yada, cafe, cigaria. I don't smoke cigarettes, but everyone else does. Cafe, cigaria, bonoid panica. Let's relax for 10 minutes. Let's chill, and then we'll go and do everything. So we're drinking 4 or 5 coffees a day.
It's a lot of caffeine.
A lot of caffeine.
Yeah, gotta stay caffeinated out there.
Yeah, a lot of caffeine. But I wouldn't suggest it for all the listeners. I would not suggest it.
So for your clients, you're not recommending 4 cups of coffee a day?
Definitely not. I'm also not recommending 3 hours of sleep. I'm not recommending getting up in the middle of the night for sleep. I'm not recommending putting yourself, in enemy territory. So I'm not recommending any of it.
Yeah, so don't Eli's not practicing what he preaches right now, everyone. PSA.
Yeah, I have a 2 month hiatus.
It's an exception to the rule. There's always exceptions.
Exactly.
Well, getting back to just what's been going on this week, it's certainly been a whirlwind, seeing things from afar, seeing things on the news, and just being so overly joyous and happy on Monday to now. I feel like, things have definitely died down in terms of the excitement maybe, and there's certainly concern about what's next. And is this really a victory for Israel or not? So I was curious to understand, what does a victory look like to you? And is there really a clear winner in this war right now?
Yeah. I mean, I think Israel had the upper hand on the deal in this one for sure. I think the deal was more in Israel's favor. It also depends on how you look at, what Israel needs best in the long run. Obviously, I would have rather not give away 1,000 prisoners, or however many it was, 1,200 prisoners, I think. Especially when, in the last exchange, we gave away 1,000 for Gilad Shalit, and one of them turned out to be Sinwar, and a lot of others were included in the attack. So the last thing I want to do is give away a lot of prisoners, but I think the country needed it to be able to heal and move on. I also think internationally we're getting so much criticism, and Israel's really on the backfire and kind of on a thread to a degree, that we needed to have a ceasefire, quiet down the situation, let the war end to a degree. And quite frankly, I don't think Hamas is going to uphold its side. It already hasn't. I mean, it was supposed to release 28 dead bodies. It released 4. It was supposed to release all the live hostages and the 28 dead bodies by noon on Monday, I think it was. Right? Yeah, Monday. Or Tuesday? I'm so confused with my Tuesday. No, today's Monday. Yeah, getting confused with my days now. But anyway, same day of.
Today, my time.
Yeah, it was supposed to. Yeah, it was supposed to have all the dead bodies returned. At the moment, I was part of the first 2 that were returned for the dead bodies, first 7 live bodies, and then also first 2 dead bodies. And last night, Israel time, we also oversaw making sure 4 more dead bodies came in. So now 8 out of 28 dead bodies have come into Israel. That means they're not holding their end on 20 of the 28 dead bodies, way after the time that they're supposed to, and there's no timeline in sight that we've received of when we're actually going to be receiving them. So they're already not upholding that. Last 24 hours alone, my team's dealt with numerous altercation, not gunfight, but there's the demarcation line, the new demarcation line that Israel and Hamas have agreed upon, that Israel's moving out to about 50% of what they had in Gaza, and we're holding that stronghold, and no one's allowed to cross that line, and it's very clear what the lines are and all that. They've already crossed the line numerous times, and we've had to go and deal with it. And in that, we've never harmed someone, killed someone, anything like that most people would maybe think or hear or whatever. Even though there's a lot of evidence that we should be. I can't get into details on that, but a lot of evidence that we should be. They're already not upholding their side of the bargain, like already, and Israel fully is. So I'm actually just about to be posting something on that in like the next few hours. But I think Hamas isn't going to uphold it, and maybe the war is going to have to continue at that point. But at least we have our hostages. Is the way I see it at that point, and we can go in harder afterwards. Long term, Hamas can't be armed. Hamas can't be in control. Like I said, I think they're going to break their end of the bargain, and then we're going to go in again. And otherwise, I think,
And do you mean their end of the bargain is in terms of just not returning the dead bodies, all of the dead bodies, or being able to do that?
Well, I mean, also they agreed that they're going to stay behind a certain line, right? And they've already not stayed behind that line. So it's kind of like there's a new border, and they're passing that border. It's like as if there was old Gaza from October 6th, and they're crossing it. And we've already agreed that that's the thing. So it's essentially like a new border, and they know what the border is, and they're already crossing it. So they're already breaking that rule. And those are two big rules. And then long term, I don't think that I would love to see, on October 6th, I think that we were really close to a long-term peace agreement with Gaza, Palestine, whatever you want to call it. I just don't see it happening right now. I don't think either side trusts the other side. It's really hard to have. I don't want them living on the other side, running themselves. So it's going to be really hard to give them any type of autonomy. But I'm really happy that the Arab states have come together, and I think that's the only potential way for there to be some sort of peace and trust. So I'm not smart enough to be the politician. I do what I'm told here.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing. It's like Donald Trump is saying the war is over, but the war is very much so
it's definitely not over. It is definitely not over.
Right.
I think it's the beginning of the culmination. I think we start to see the end in sight, but to say that there's complete peace and the war is completely over, no chance in hell. I mean, we're still inside Gaza. There's a long way to go. There's a long way to go.
Yeah. And through like your content and what you've been posting, I'm just curious to understand like what kind of messages you've gotten. I mean, I'm sure, of course, there's always going to be hate messages, but have you been able to maybe shift opinion in any way on like the misconceptions out there about the army, about Israel, and about what you guys are doing right now in Gaza?
Yeah. Funny enough, I was getting more hate messages before this. So I don't know how the algorithm changed, but before the war had started and my content was like very Israel centric, it was kind of like more Jewish mindset, health. I'd have like an Israel flag running as Batman. That's, by the way, there's two of us that run as Batman as marathons all over. So I would get more hate comments on that. I think the algorithm changed where, for whatever reason, I'm getting way less hate comments than I used to and hate messages. I have some people that will slide into my DMs and bring up good arguments or conversations, and I'm always open to that. I have one person in particular that I speak with a lot who's an influencer who's kind of in the middle, leaning towards pro-Palestinian.
They're Jewish or they're not Jewish?
They're not Jewish. No, they're pretty they're just trying to learn more. I try to educate them as much as I can. I think the majority of my content also is strengthening and reinforcing the pro-Israel side and letting them know and feel that they really are on the right side of history. I think people don't learn as much on social media at this point, so I'm not going to convince. Some of the content I try to really show people and convince, that we are on the right side and it's going to be your average bystander. But I think the majority really is talking to us and just strengthening that. But I have a few friends that have messaged me in the last couple of weeks saying, look, everything I know about the war is coming from you. They're not Jewish, they're not anything, they live in Texas or somewhere else. It's not the top of mind priority for them, but everything that they know about it is from me or from these far left accounts. And they're like, you keep giving me faith that Israel's still good.
Amazing. Yeah.
That's worth it. Anytime I get those messages, beyond worth it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, I think that's the biggest question now too, is like ideologically, this war is not over for us Jews, like living in the diaspora, dealing with anti-Semitism, dealing with anti-Israel rhetoric.
Totally.
We've seen the protests in the streets. I was living in New York City for 6 years. A lot of the reason I moved to Miami was because of what was going on there and just feelings of unsafety. Totally. It was heavy living in New York, honestly.
Totally.
Yeah, no. What happens? I think now it seems like all the ceasefire now, people are very silent, or they're now just
they're completely silent. They wanted a ceasefire, they got one. No one's celebrating. It blows my mind how.
Yeah, well, I think what's really
it's radio silence from their side.
Radio silence, and then also the fact that these people are calling hostages for hostages. Like this was a hostage swap.
Or the prisoners for prisoners. That's the other one that they'll say. They'll acknowledge it's prisoners on their end, but then they call us prisoners. And I'm like, bro, what? These people aren't prison. The only ones I can accept are prisoners are the soldiers that they arrested, that they kidnapped from the bases. That one I'll be like, okay, it's prisoner of war if you want to call it. Like that one I'll give it to them. If they took me, for example, I would be a prisoner. I get it.
Right, because you're actually in active duty. Yeah.
Yeah, so if they took someone from a base in Israel who was uniformed and made him, kidnapped him, then I get it. Other than that, that's like maybe 20 of them, 10 of them, 5 of them, I don't know the number. You have like the Bibas boys. You have Shira Bibas. Like, how is that a prisoner? She hasn't done anything. They haven't done anything. So it blows my mind that they're able to equate the two and put them even close to the same sentence.
Yeah, no, and that's going to be a big problem, is obviously the aftermath of what happens moving forward with just the damage that's been done ideologically for our people.
Yeah, and it's a super important message that I want to get across, is that I say in all of my speeches that I give in the last 2 years is, look, I was and currently am fortunate enough to be on the front lines of the physical war defending Israel. But that's a war that we are doing very, very well at. We did very well at. We're specialized at. We've trained ourselves at. We have one of the best militaries in the world at. The other war is the war of Hasbara. It's the war of social media. It's the war of getting everyone. And we're terrible at that war. And it's just as important of a war. And it's a war that you, Kayla, are fighting with everything you're doing. It's a war that I'm doing now. It's what I call my new front line. So when I'm not on the physical front lines, I'm always fighting that. And it's a war that every single listener on this podcast is able to be part of, whether it's reposting, resharing, creating content yourself, talking to a friend, talking to a colleague, whatever it is, you are part of the battle. Especially if you're a student listening, you're on the front lines of it because it's being done in university campuses. And that's a battle that, like I said, we're losing. We need to win it. It's absolutely crucial if we want to keep having America and the U.S. government and all these people on our side.
Yeah, and Hasbara is, can you explain, I guess, what that is? I mean, I know what that is. It's, to me, like explaining what it means to be.
Yeah, Hasbara literally in Hasbara literally comes from the word lesbian in Hebrew, which means to explain. So you're explaining things. In practice, it's really just Israel advocacy. So it's explaining what Israel is, why it, should exist, what Zionism is, why Israel is doing the right thing, why we're the most moral army, all the things that you and I both know, and probably a lot of the listeners know. It's getting that message out, and we're not very good at it, quite frankly, and we're trying to improve, but there's so many more of them. It's now become cool the way that they've aligned themselves to be anti-Israel. There's, I think Charlie Kirk's letter to Bibi Netanyahu, I don't know if you read that or if anyone read that, but I mean, I think he was a master at it. Look, he built a massive, massive, massive organization that had such a huge movement for the youth and made being Republican or being Trump, like pro-Trump, somewhat cool in college campuses, which wasn't a thing. I mean, putting politics aside, I'm just saying, like, if you look at what objectively his statistical numbers have improving,
And one
taking
of the
his
things Charlie
advice.
said in this letter is, Bibi Netanyahu, your PR is terrible. You need to get on the street,
Exactly.
interview
You need to get in the street.
people. What's so great about Israel? What is being
You need
Jewish
to get your
like?
people doing it, and your
Exactly.
biggest one
Yeah.
is you need to respond faster. Like there's like we're no longer in the age that like something happens in the IDF and in Gaza or whatever, and Israel responds 3 days later in some weird random like newspaper article. Like no, you need to right away hit it heavy, hit it hard, give the influencers the material they need right away because that thing is spreading like wildfire. And you need to go to the right sources, and you need to go on podcasts, you need to go on TikTok, you need to go on Instagram, you need to go on X, you need to go on everything, because that's where the news is going to spread. And if you don't, whether what was said is true or not, it doesn't matter because everyone's going to think it's true. You've still lost. So we need to be way faster at it, be way better at damage control. We need to be way better at also just spreading who we are, what we do, how good we are, all the positive attributes. Every time we go and help, don't help quietly, help fucking loudly at the end of the day. Let people know that we're bringing aid for all sorts of stuff. Have our, Israel flag big and booming everywhere. Like that, people need to feel and look at Israel with the positive eyes that every Jew does and know how much good it does for the world because we're bad at marketing that. And I think that the more we can invest in and do that, the more we can train our youth. Same way we train our military. And we need to train our youth to know how to defend themselves, to know how to, I'm not saying physically, I'm saying verbally, how to advocate, because that's the army. Our college students need to know how to do that.
Yeah, totally. I just went on a trip through Birthright in August called Storytellers. And it's
That's
all
awesome.
about, yeah, it's all about like being able to narrate the Jewish story and share with the
What? I didn't
world.
even know this. Do you have to be Jewish or not Jewish? Do you have to be, is it like the normal birthright thing where you've never been to Israel or whatever their rules are
No,
on an
it's for
organized
like
trip?
people late 20s, mid 30s who are Jewish and just like professionals or they're influencers or influencing someone in their sphere, whatever that may be.
Oh, wow.
Um,
You need to send me the details on that.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
down. That
yeah.
sounds amazing.
This was the first of the program. I was on the first lead trip. There's going to be a trip in
So
October or in a
cool.
few weeks, and then in December. But it's like we need
Maybe
more of that.
December for me because October is more.
Yeah, I don't think you'll be going in the next week or so, but maybe in December we'll get you on the trip. Although you don't need to like do these sessions. You're already doing it on your own.
Yeah.
We need other people that don't feel
Fair,
as well equipped
fair. You're
to be
right.
able to share.
You're right.
But
I was just trying to get a free Israel trip.
Yeah, you don't need a free Israel trip. Exactly. But we need that for the college kids and people that are going to college that never really knew the story of Israel and are going to college for the first time and hearing all these negative things and having zero clue what to say or how to think. And I think it's an issue. Yeah.
A lot of people were involved in it, and Liz, but it basically teaches, there's two arms of it. One is teaching college students how to advocate for Israel, and we have seminars and programs and workshops that take several days. And then the other one is actually reaching middle America a little bit more. People who have like never met Jews or rarely met Jews or Israelis, and giving them our firsthand experience of what's happening in Gaza. All of the speakers are IDF soldiers that served in Gaza that are American or Canadian or something like that. So some sort of a lone soldier who have perfect English that we can relate with them and teach them and relate to the college kids. And I think college students need to be hearing that and seeing that a lot more. When I leave Gaza in 3 weeks, I go back, run the New York City Marathon as Batman, like in the full Batman outfit for the B-Bus boys. And then the next day after the marathon, I have a 7-day university tour all over the country to speak to college students. So it's so, so, so important to reach these kids. So important.
Yeah, can you share more on like what universities or campuses you'll be going to?
Yeah,
Or
so I'm
is that
speaking for this organization called SSI, Students Supporting Israel, which is phenomenal. I think it's one of the best organizations, newer organizations in the last few years. They're kind of a direct competitor of SJP, Students for Justice in Palestine. They're the ones that organized all of the encampments. And the Jewish students are struggling in a lot of these university campuses because there's so much anti-Semitism that's disguised as anti-Zionism or anti-Israel, and their job is to fight back and defend Israel. But the more tools we can give them, me giving and sharing my firsthand experience of what I did in Gaza round one, what I'm doing in Gaza round two, defending the actions that some people think Israel does and saying, no, this is actually what we do, and correcting the record for the university students that come, and also the students that are listening who are already pro-Israel.
these are all
So
for Jewish
if,
students, right? Like equipping Jewish students.
hour out of
Oh,
their day
nice.
to come.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
ones that are
Okay,
anti-side
that's great. I
waiting
was going to say we
to
need to target those
heckle
people
me and shove a phone in my face
somehow.
and call.
No.
So they would never.
Yeah. Yeah. What has been the biggest
That's really
shock
what
to
got me on the
you
journey of
since
Hasbara. I never did
serving?
any of this
Given
beforehand.
all the accusations made against the IDF, what out
I
of many of those
came
terms,
back
right?
from
Baby
Gaza
killer,
round one.
genocide. Does it ever concern you? I guess you have your own business. Well, I was more speaking to for when we're talking about
Yeah.
Hasbara, right? And I totally agree with you. That's why I started this platform, is because I personally had my own experience with losing best friendships over what's been happening. People I thought were sisters for life. We no longer are speaking, unfortunately, because of our differences in beliefs, and that's not an uncommon situation, unfortunately, especially for us Jews, like in the States. But because of that, because of just other feelings throughout this time period, and knowing how closely connected I feel to Israel, and seeing the world totally misunderstand what's going on there, has led me to have this platform. But I also work for an Israeli tech company. I feel like I'm able to speak out a little bit more. Like maybe the risk isn't there for me as it might be for other people with
if
their
I worked
career,
for a
with
company that
whatever they might
didn't
be doing.
let
So
me speak
that's
out,
where I was coming from. Was
depending on what it was,
obviously
I get it.
maybe
Some
for
people
you it's
can't
different because you
if they're
have your own
far enough
business
along in
and
their
don't
career.
feel like
But
this could
I would
impact
hate
you
that.
professionally.
I would just be
Yeah,
absolutely.
Totally. Listen, everyone to each their own. Everyone's going to have their own experience, but
Yeah.
why would you want to work with someone or not for someone that
Yeah.
doesn't support who you are at
And
your
like
core?
I
And I
have
think
friends
that's the
that
whole
are
gist
more
of this conflict
pro-Palestinian,
and friendships that
and
Jews of the
we
diaspora have maybe lost because of the situation,
with the exception of
like
a
myself,
couple,
or people
not
like you
really
who are
as close
serving
with
and
them,
posting about what's going on.
especially
So
recent Israel's doing.
yeah, totally.
Zionist pig.
And I think
Don't
it doesn't need to be like I'm
think that
pro-Israel
I'm
or I'm
this child
pro-Palestinian.
murderer.
Like
Don't
being
think that
pro-Israel
Israel is
doesn't
doing
mean
these kinds
we're
of
not
things. As long as you're
pro-Palestinian.
not important.
It's not always so black and white, and I think unfortunately social media is very polarizing right now, and people are only seeing what they want to see in their own.
This is super important. It's another part of the war that I'm doing right.
Yeah. So Eli, I know we have a few minutes left. Want to be mindful of your time. So yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I want to have you offer like a glimpse of hope for this next phase and what things could look like.
In terms of specifics with the next phase, there's so much up in the air. But I think the best situation would be seeing
your goals are
a strong coalition from the Arab parties.
Yeah, that's
and thank you for everything you're doing.
And hopefully things will end up playing out that way. Definitely feeling hopeful, and yeah, we'll see what happens. But Eli, thanks for your time tonight, or this morning. Really, really appreciate it, and looking forward to sharing our report.